Welcome back. You're watching Your Money and Your Life. Now, don't know what to put into your share portfolio? Well, let's get straight into this week's stock recommendations with our experts, superhero trading app founder John Winters and fund manager Michael Wayne from Medallion Financial. Michael, how's it looking at the moment?
It's been pretty buoyant the last few weeks. It was looking a little bit hairy there. In February, we saw bond yields around the world moving above 1% in Australia and above 1% in the US, but that seems to have found a bit of a base at the moment, and equity markets are comfortable with that.
John, what's the traffic like on superhero?
There's a huge demand for tech-related stocks, and we see them continuing to outperform as well. So really strong theme in the market and consistently hitting new highs.
Yep. Let's kick off with a tech stock. One of the two we're going to take a look at today as Xero, the accounting software platform for small businesses. Started out of New Zealand and now has taken on the world. John, how's it come up?
Yeah, it's been a terrific story over a long period of time. Absolutely phenomenal growth rates, but they've taken a really sort of offline business and digitised it in their go-to-market strategy. It's worked really well. They've built a huge amount of customers.
Well, they've emerged as the dominant player in Australia and New Zealand, and they're looking to achieve the same thing now in the UK and to some extent as well in the US. It took them 10 years to get their first million customers, and it's taken them, I think, 2 years after that to get their second million. So they've managed to transition from a startup company. They had their first year of profitability last year, their cash flow's growing, and they're making a good fist of it in new and larger markets.
So share price has been a phenomenal performer in the last 2 years or so. Is it worth buying at these levels?
Look, at these levels, I'll be tempted to hold, but if we do see a retracement like we saw only a couple of months ago, where the price gets to around $110, we would certainly be interested at those levels.
Yep, John?
Yeah, I agree with the long-term thematic. I think at these levels you would hold it. Longer term, very bullish, but at the moment you wouldn't be rushing in.
Okay, let's get into our second stock, and one that we've had a lot of feedback on, and that is Qantas, the big Australian, back in the skies at the moment, at least domestically, not so much internationally. Michael, is this an opening up story for the economy? Is it the start of a good rebound?
I think you've got to be careful with this one. It's very emotive, the flying kangaroo for many people. And sure, as the economy reopens and borders reopen, Qantas should definitely benefit from that. We have seen the domestic borders open up, and domestic travel and flights for Qantas has 3 times the margins of international travel. So we are starting to see numbers recover in the domestic market. Next year, the numbers for 2022 are meant to be better than pre-pandemic. So there is definitely some light at the end of the tunnel, but looking at it from a holistic perspective, history is littered with the corpses of airlines that have failed. It can be a very challenging and competitive space. You've got the currency, which is an input that always fluctuates. You've got the energy price. You've got to renew the fleet. Qantas's fleet these days is actually a lot older than it has been in the past. Right. So that's one way they've been able to boost up their earnings. They've delayed the renewal of the fleet. So that's one thing you do have to always keep an eye on. But I think from a short to medium term perspective, it's more of a trade. But from a long-term perspective, I always see a lot of challenges for airlines when you least expect it.
They are complex businesses, aren't they? A lot simpler ways to make money. What do you reckon, John, on Qantas?
Yeah, I think it is a very iconic brand. Everyone in Australia knows it, and pretty much all of Australia loves it as well. So premium product to what else is in the market. They do have higher margins. The domestic market, if you look at the Qantas domestic market as well as Jetstar, has been a lot bigger than the international market for a number of years. So I do think as you start to see domestic travel ramp up, you will start to see earnings come back and ultimately the share price perform.
Okay, all right, guys. Thank you for that. Good to see you. Some good advice there on both Xero and Qantas.